Stop the press. Hold the phone. It's the most exciting YouTube video of the year. Finally, it's dropped. I know. You guys are excited. Let's talk about Notion pricing plans. Let's do it. Behold my beautiful table that I made with Notion AI. Shouldn't have confessed that. I'm all about honesty on this channel. Here is all the tiers. We're going to go through them. If you really want to go to the source, you can go to this page on notion.com/pricing. I'm basically going to distill this down for you because let's face it, the reason you're here is you can't be bothered reading this, right? Who can be bothered going through such a long page? I'm going to distill the core fundamentals down for you and go for a walk. Put this on as a little podcast, and at the end of the video, you'll have a really clear idea of what you should be going for, what plan you should be choosing. So let's start at the top here. If you're just starting out on Notion, free is fine. You know, they've got a pretty decent freemium tier if you're testing and if you're just working solo. As soon as you start hitting some limitations, which are block limitations, essentially how much you can start creating on pages, then you're going to want to bump up to the next tier. The next tier is Plus. The TLDR is Plus is great for small teams getting started. The next tier up, Business. This is for growing teams where you need a couple more features. And then the Enterprise is more for larger organizations where you need to tick off some security and compliance checkboxes like HIPAA compliance and SSO login if you want to achieve that in your organization. Next, let's talk about money. Money. So obviously, pretty standard SaaS platform. If you pay yearly, you get a bit of a discount. I think it's 20%. If you pay monthly, you pay per seat per month. A seat is just a user. So 5 people on your team, you're going to pay $60 a month. So Plus is pretty fair priced in my opinion. Business goes up a little bit, but this is where you start to get really cool features like AI just rolled in, and it's an absolute bargain in my opinion. If you think about, a lot of teams are coming to Notion in order to get away from the mess of having all these different disparate apps. If you think about, if you have Asana and Jira and all these other things, you're going to be paying way more in combination than consolidating down to a $24 per seat per month. So massive value. Enterprise, contact sales. You're going to have a sales assisted process. Next up, blocks. So you have a limit on the free tier, and on any other tier above that, it's unlimited. A block is just an item that you can create on a page, like a heading or this table or a call out. And obviously you're going to run into that limit pretty quickly on free, but it's good enough to get you familiar with the tool. Charts, you get a measly 1 chart on the free and you get unlimited on the rest. File uploads, you get up to 5 megs per file on free, 5 gigs on Plus, Business and Enterprise. It depends on the kind of workflow that you do. You know, if you're using a lot of heavy images, you're going to find this a friction point pretty quickly. Page history. So Notion is constantly saving in the background. So if you mess up or you just want to return to a previous version, you can do that. And on the free, you get 7 days worth of history going all the way from 30, 90 to unlimited on the Enterprise. Guests. These are people who aren't members of your workspace, external collaborators, if you will. Think when you create a client portal, you usually want to invite that client in as a guest. You don't want to invite them into your workspace as a member because that costs money. It adds an extra seat. So you have limited amount of guests compared to the tier that you're on. 10 on free, going up to 250 on business. Notion sites, basically you can publish any page in Notion as a sort of website. They don't look amazing, but you know what? You'd be surprised at what people can do. I made my personal site, for example, on Notion sites, and it looks pretty good. If you know how to manipulate columns and you've got an idea of UX and you know how to make a general structure of a website, you can do all right with a Notion site. You can publish as many pages as you want, but you're limited to using one notion.site domain. This is the standard domain that you get. And on the Plus and above, unlimited published pages, but you can use up to 5 notion.site domains and a few customizations. But from this tier onwards, you get to use custom domains. So if you have your own domain on GoDaddy or any other platform provider, then you can attach that and pay Notion a monthly fee and then publish your Notion website to your domain. So I do that for my website just because I couldn't be bothered getting, a Squarespace or Webflow subscription, and I just wanted to get it out there. And it works really well. A huge benefit, actually. It's pretty decent for portfolios because if you need to update things, for me, constantly, I'm always updating the testimonials and things like that. It's kind of annoying if you have your website on Squarespace or any of these other website providers, because it's a bit of a manual process to go in and change things. On Notion, if you want to change a tiny aspect of your site, you just go to the page, change it, and it just automatically updates. So it's pretty easy. If you don't mind how it looks like, I actually recommend Notion sites for a few specific use cases like portfolios. Yeah, nothing much else to cover there. You get basic forms here, but as soon as you go on to Plus and above, you get access to custom forms. And then from Business and above, you get conditional logic. So you can create these branching paths that you can lead your users down. Security and admin, this is a big one. You get basic two-factor authentication and basic controls on the free. As you go through the tiers, you get more security features like private team spaces. So you could have a team space, for leadership, for example, where the other people in your company can't even see that team space exists. You can start to verify pages, which means that they appear in global search, easier to find, and help your organization across the company. Then you unlock cool things like SAML SSO, which is a sign-in option that enables you to let people sign in with their company email. You get granular DB permissions, which if you haven't checked out what that is, then check it out on our channel. It's a pretty new feature and it's pretty awesome. And basically, as you keep going up, these layers keep stacking up. When you get to enterprise, you're talking SCIM, which is like advanced external control of your user provisioning and really cool features like that. Usually these kind of features are required when you have IT departments in a bigger organization and you just want to cover those bases. So enterprise is really about covering all those IT and security requirements. Next, we've got AI. You get a teeny weeny AI trial on the free plan and Plus, but you get the full-blown Notion AI on Business. For this alone, I would recommend most people just skip Plus and go straight to Business. If you're willing to pay, I'd just go straight to Business and just save yourself a little bit of admin, because AI is so baked in and is really, really powerful now in Notion. If you'd ask me how is AI in Notion, should I bother upgrading to the tier that enables it? If you asked me that last year, I'd probably say, it's kind of like a cool party trick for right now. It's like ChatGPT plus a little bit extra inside Notion. It's kind of cool. That's what I would have told you. As of a few months ago, as of Notion 3.0, which is what they're calling it internally, where you have agents that can actually perform actions for you, which is really cool. Honestly, we're going to do some more videos on agents. I would just get Business. It's really cost effective when you consider where you're coming from and you're consolidating into Notion. And AI, they're just leaning so heavily into it and investing so much into constant upgrades and feature additions into Notion AI that just go for it. This is my suggestion. And then on enterprise, you can get a bit more flexibility over controls like zero data retention, stuff that, again, it's more security focused, which we are covering in this row right here. Offline mode, you can, on the free, I think you have to manually choose the pages that you want to save to offline, but on Plus and upwards, it saves your most recent, I think up to 10 most recent, and your favorites as well. They auto download. So that's pretty handy. You'd have to remember to do that manual process. There we go. That is the overview. I think if you are past the tinkering stage, i.e. the free tier, and you're ready to start paying for it, my recommendation is just go to Business for Notion AI alone. It's worth it. You can go on Notion's website and check out pricing calculator if you're worried about pricing or if you want to see just how valuable it is. And you'll see, trust me, 24 per seat per month is an absolute bargain with the Notion AI included. Enterprise, that speaks for itself. If you're a big, large organization and you need those security and extra dialed in features, then go enterprise and contact sales. I believe it's not extortionate. So yeah, I think business is a great plan for most teams that are taking Notion seriously. And if you want to jump in and have a bit more of a detailed look yourself, obviously you don't want to buy something based on one video that you watched, but I hope this has been a handy guide. Then jump over to notion.com/pricing and you can get into a little bit more detail. But basically, we've covered everything that you might want to know here, but there's some extra FAQs and stuff like that on this page if you want to dig a little bit deeper. So yeah, hope that was useful for you guys, especially if you were walking around and listening to this as a little podcast. Hopefully you have a bit more clarity on what you're going to choose for you and your team. Until next time, peace.